So we are live and we'll start in 2 minutes. All right, so we're going to start. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Welcome back to New Age Finance and Accounting Summit. My name is Barsha. I'm from Kalish Times. Moving on to our next session for today would be driving digital transformation through business intelligence. And our speaker for today is Mr. Rob Davis. Just to give you all a short introduction for Mr. Rob, he is the Vice President of Solution Management MicroStrategy. He's got a total of over 17 years of experience in the data and business intelligence industries and has held senior product management, development, consulting, support, and customer success position at Business Object SAP. Thank you, Mr. Davis. It's an absolute honor to have you on board, and I look forward to seeing this session. You may please start. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for having me here today. Good morning to everyone. So I am Rob Davis. I lead the solution management organization at MicroStrategy. And basically, it's my job to take customer requirements, to understand customers' use cases around analytics and business intelligence, and get those incorporated into better product, better software, better methodologies of using analytics in your day-to-day work. I have been around in the industry for 17 years. I started at Business Objects, did some time at SAP in the development organization, and spent 3 years actually at Tableau before coming to MicroStrategy. So I've seen lots of different ways of incorporating analytics and business intelligence into organizations and into enterprises. But today what I want to talk to you about is really some innovative ways to bring analytics to 100% of people in the enterprise. How do we make everyone more intelligent with data? How do we allow everyone to make better decisions with data? And how do we do that in a way that doesn't require us to do a lot of education or a lot of retraining of our staff? So a little bit of background. We realized at MicroStrategy when the COVID-19 crisis hit that a lot of companies were putting analytics front and center as a way to deal with the crisis. So a little bit of research here showing you how important data, business intelligence, and analytics really are to the strategies of companies in this current crisis that we're in the world. Over 43% of organizations have placed analytics at the center of their strategy of informing major decisions as people are working remote and as companies are having to be agile in their response to the crisis. Over 70% of organizations are leveraging analytics to deal specifically with aspects of COVID-19. And this ranges everywhere from the retail industry, looking at different supply chain options and different delivery methods to their organizations, all the way to the finance industry, where organizations, especially banks, are looking at how they do agile compliance reporting using the analytics they have to make sure they can comply with government regulations on stimulus packages and payouts and to avoid fraudulent claims such as that. And over 43% of organizations have had an impact on their analytics staff. So they've either have fewer people creating reports and they want to devolve more of that to the departments themselves, or they are upskilling their analytics staff to become deeper data scientists to get more insight from the data. So if I was to summarize those three challenges that we're facing in analytics from the COVID-19 pandemic, it's really companies now need to evolve quickly. They need to figure out how to give better customer service, how to retain customers, and how to do that in an unprecedented changing business climate. And this affects the finance industry as well. How do we save time in basic accounting techniques so that we can be looking at more innovative ways to create money, create profit for the company? How do we do that agile compliance reporting I was talking about before so that we can evolve quickly to take advantage of the opportunities that the crisis entails? Remote work is the second challenge. The days are gone where you can just go down the hall and ask an analytics or a data question of someone who's a friend of yours in the office. You can't just say, do you have that data set where I was looking at last week? Has it been refreshed? You have to have the up-to-date data and the self-service capability to answer those questions yourself, but also to be sure that you're getting governed and trusted data that you can make decisions on when you're in your home office. And the final challenge is cost control. How do we become more agile, become deeper in our use of data, but do that at a reasonable cost as companies are strapped in terms of budget and in terms of the money they have available to innovate in these times? So our vision at MicroStrategy is really intelligence everywhere. And one of the reasons I came to this company after my time at Business Objects, SAP, and Tableau was I believe the vision was really putting data in the hands of everyone. We've been very good in the business intelligence industry at providing better and better tools for data scientists and for business analysts and allowing them to do deeper and deeper insight with the data. But we've often forgotten about people at the front lines of the business, the bank tellers, the accountants, people who need data just in time when they are looking at a particular business process and they need to make a decision on the scale of minutes or seconds as opposed to days or weeks. So the vision of MicroStrategy is really providing that intelligence everywhere. Intelligence and data to everyone, regardless of their level of data literacy, regardless of where they are on the web, in an enterprise application, in a mobile application, and regardless of what they're trying to do, making sure that they have data to make decisions in just the right time in a contextual manner. So what are the challenges to achieving this? Number one is technology. As I said before, traditional BI and data discovery solutions only address 20% of users. And this is because of the focus we've had on the business analyst and the data scientist in the past, and not on the frontline worker and their needs and requirements to get things done. The second one is culture. People are attuned not to use data in their day-to-day decisions. They'll go on their hunch or on their gut feeling or on what they did last week. And providing a culture and the ease of use of database decision-making that allows people to do it in the applications that they already use day-to-day is something that we need to achieve in the business intelligence industry. And finally, expertise. Enterprises as a whole lack the expertise to deploy enterprise-wide analytics. So we need to make it easier for enterprises to have that fabric of data, to have that fabric of semantics to allow people to make good decisions from data. So when we boiled it down, intelligence everywhere requires three things. It requires modern analytics that appeal to everyone, regardless of their level of data literacy. It requires an open architecture that allows you to integrate those analytics with any enterprise application or any data source that you have in your organization. And it requires an enterprise-grade platform that allows you to deploy scalably, that allows you to provide a single version of the truth across all of your data sources, and allows you to do that in a secure and trusted manner so everyone can trust the decisions that they've made from their data. So I'll talk a little bit about MicroStrategy now and some of the ways that we have addressed those issues to achieve intelligence everywhere. This is our modern analytics strategy. And really the first thing is, how do we provide consumer-grade experiences for every role, every job description, every level of data literacy on every device? And our lighthouse new product here is hyperintelligence. And I'll explain this in just a moment. But hyperintelligence you can think of as micro dashboards that allow you to see trusted and governed data regardless of the application you're in, and to make decisions and take action immediately from that data. We also have rich mobile applications with responsive design. That means that your dashboard designers and your report designers can easily create reports and dashboards that appear correct on iPads, on iPhones, on whatever device people are using in the field. And finally, rich self-service visual analytics capabilities. Because remember, everything starts with a data analyst. The data analyst comes up with the insights, comes up with the KPIs that need to be looked at by the rest of the organization. And having that rich self-service visual analytics capability in our dossier product is a key part of that. But let me talk specifically now about hyperintelligence. Embedded contextual analytics are a key to adoption. When I talked before about only 20% of people using analytics, it's because people don't want to enter a specific BI tool or a specific analytics tool to get an answer. They have to remember their login, they have to remember the URL of the site, they have to remember the report that they want to look at, and then they have to drill down to the right area on that report, and by that time, they may have forgotten the question that they want to ask. So hyperintelligence is built on a very, very simple concept. And I'm afraid I might date myself a little bit here, but it's based on the concept of the 3.5 by 5 inch index card, which everyone used to have on their desk in something called a Rolodex. If you wanted to get information on a customer, you would spin your Rolodex around until you found the card for that customer, and you would see their phone number and the last time they bought from you and their birthday and all the bits of information you needed to make a decision on how to serve that customer. And we've extended that concept with hyperintelligence to make cards possible on any concept that you have in your business. They can be on a person, they can be on a product, they can be on a customer or an opportunity. Basically, anything that you might want to see data about in any enterprise application can be expressed on a hypercard. And this data can come from anywhere. It can come from any data source that you have in the organization, all federated through our enterprise semantic graph and presented on these cards. And this becomes very rich when you look how it's used in practice. Here I'm in Outlook and I see an email with a bunch of my customers' names, and the hypercards come up automatically on the right-hand side, and I can see data about each one of those accounts. This would be true in the finance industry if I had a list of accounts in my email as well, and I could see the last time they were consolidated, what the data source was used, and all the reconciliation that took place. Similarly, in Salesforce, I can take a look at the hypercards for any account name. And this data can be coming from any data source, even outside of Salesforce, and is overlaid on top of the Salesforce application, giving me real-time access to that data. I can see the same about the customers that I have in that space. And what this allows is for my employees to become hyper intelligent. It really allows them to see here in an employee application, for example, more information about individual employees, their performance, their recent accomplishments, and allows me to make decisions on promotions and bonuses, for example, in real time. So it really moves us from a state where people are using data just to make reports and dashboards to a state where people are using data to make split-second decisions. And it doesn't stop there, because hyperintelligence also embeds next best action. So these cards that I showed you that can be overlaid on any enterprise application and incorporates all enterprise data into a consolidated look at the data regarding a particular concept in the business, can also trigger actions in enterprise applications like Salesforce, Oracle, Google, any of the Workday applications. And what this allows you to do is to immediately approve promotions, approve quotes, approve consolidations directly from a hypercard without having to enter another application. And this makes it very, very fast and allows people to become completely implicated in the data-based decision-making that is made possible through hyperintelligence. The next point is open architecture, and open architecture is very important in a transformational BI strategy. The ability to have a data hub that has a federated look at all of the data in your organization and allows you to access it through Microsoft Office, through other BI tools like Tableau, Power BI, Qlik. You want to allow people to use the tools they love today as they access the governed and trusted data in the BI platform. We also believe it's very important to base your entire platform on REST APIs. This means that any bit of the BI architecture can be embedded into any other application. So you can embed into custom web pages, you can embed into custom mobile applications, and ensure that everyone has a single version of the truth as they're looking across those data sources. And I talked about cost optimization earlier in my talk. And one of the things we think is really important is to make sure that you have the same platform, the same architecture, whether you're on private cloud, whether you're on public cloud, whether you're using AWS, Azure, Windows, or Linux. And that allows you to move between different deployment methods with exactly the same platform and no loss of functionality to optimize your cost structure. I'm just going to talk briefly about integrating the data scientist into business intelligence, because this is something that has not really been done well before, and something that I think is very important, especially in the finance industry, as you come up with risk algorithms, fraud algorithms, all of the algorithms that are necessary to run an agile finance business in the challenging period that we're currently in. For too long, the data scientist has sat off to the side. They've done their analyses, built their algorithms, not necessarily on trusted or governed data, and then they had no great way to get the results of those algorithms back out to everyone in the enterprise to make decisions from. So what we've done at MicroStrategy is we've taken that same enterprise semantic graph that I talked about before, that federates data from all of the sources that you have across your organization. And we've allowed that trusted data to be imported by the data scientist in the tools that they already use to create their algorithms, into Jupyter, into RStudio, into other data science tools. And once they've created their AI-enriched data, they can ship that back into the MicroStrategy semantic graph. And that data is then available to all of the tools that I showed you before, be they dashboards, be they hyper-intelligence cards, be they self-service visual analytics. And this really allows those fraud algorithms, those compliance algorithms, those risk algorithms to become part of the day-to-day decision-making that people on the front line of your business use in their enterprise applications, and in a seamless way on trusted and governed data. We also have, as I said before, the fastest, most secure, and most economical cloud deployments. You can get up and running in the cloud in a week on your preferred cloud vendor. The security is baked in terms of the security protocols that we support in your business intelligence cloud. And it's the lowest total cost of ownership in the industry. So we have experts who can manage and optimize the applications and ensure that the environment grows and shrinks over time to meet your peak period usage and to ensure that you are being as efficient as possible in the cost structure of the business intelligence platform. And then finally, enterprise functionality. And this is really the DNA of MicroStrategy and why you would choose an enterprise BI platform in the first place. Those modern analytics I showed you earlier, the ability to have hypercards across all applications, the ability to have rich self-service analytics, is all based on the broadest enterprise semantic graph in the industry. So the ability to federate all data sources into a single version of the truth to ensure that everyone can be trusting and compare data with everyone else in their team. It's highly scalable as well. We've done research that shows we're up to 3.5 times more scalable than Power BI in terms of capacity at the enterprise level. And as I mentioned before, the security certifications that we have in the cloud and on our platform are key, especially in the finance industry, with all of the regulations and compliance that are necessary there. A final word about the semantic graph. I talked about agility before and companies being agile. I see a lot of companies in the banking industry, in the financial space now, running departments as analytics startups. So basically giving departments some freedom to come up with the analysis and the insights that they find useful to their business alone. And then over time, incorporating those insights, those data science algorithms, those visualizations into enterprise applications that span the whole business. And since MicroStrategy is built on a single semantic graph, a single version of the truth in a single platform, you are able to give freedom to certain departments and certain data analysts to come up with those insights, eventually migrate those insights to departmental applications, prove their worth there and measure the value of those insights, and then eventually move them into enterprise applications across the entire company, like risk applications, like upsell applications, like customer service applications. So this is a key functionality of the platform, and one that I would recommend to any company that wants to mix agility with governance in order to bring real insight across the business. And finally, it's not all about technology. Methodology is also important. We have a team at MicroStrategy of the top experts in enterprise business intelligence and a suite of services featuring upgrade engagements, assessments, advisories, data advisories, pilots on technology such as hyperintelligence that will allow you to take advantage of some of these benefits and agility in your analytics strategy. So again, to summarize, MicroStrategy is really about modern analytics, open architecture, and enterprise-grade platform. Those things are key to providing intelligence everywhere, to making sure that everyone in the business can act on data when they make their decisions, and to ensure that everyone is acting on the same data in these challenging times as people work from home and people work with teams in a remote way. So my email is there if you have questions, if you'd like to talk about some of the banking experience we have, some of the insurance experience we have, I'd be happy to start a conversation with you. And again, thank you for having me here today. It's been great speaking with you. I think you're on mute.
Sorry. Thank you so much for an amazing session. We have a couple of questions, which I'm going to tell you right now. We have Mr. Amitwa Majumder asking, what traits are required for a successful analyst?
For a successful analyst, okay. So I was one once, but it was a long time ago. So I will try to answer with what I hire analysts on now. The first one is really a deep sense of curiosity. You have to have people who want to find out more from the data and who are not easily accepting of what the data might be saying on the surface. So, you know, I have a history in physics. I have a PhD in physics, and I did high energy physics when I was a younger man. And I think the traits of an analyst are very much like those of a scientist. They have to be trying to prove a hypothesis, but to be healthily skeptical of what the data might be telling them and trying to get into the data deeper to either prove or disprove that particular thesis. And I prefer analysts who only try to disprove theses. It's the scientific method, right? You can never prove anything. You always have to be trying to disprove things. They also have to be very patient. They have to be able to do several iterations of an analysis and to figure out how to make it better over time. And finally, the real trait that I want to see in an analyst, especially in business, is an understanding of how frontline workers will use the results of their analysis. I see too many analysts doing an academic analysis that they then present in a big PowerPoint presentation, but they never think about how someone who is selling insurance or someone who is a teller in a bank or someone who is a customer service representative on an online banking app will use that data to make their job better. So having that understanding of people on the front line of the business and how they need to use data is key in those traits of an analyst. More questions, Varsha?
Yes. Next question is, what is the difference between data analytics and advanced analytics?
All right, so it's a bit of a artificial difference, but data analytics is often just bringing data together dimensionally and looking at things over time or slicing data by date or by geography in order to drill down to the particular piece of a corporate data that you want to look at. Advanced analytics is using more statistical methods in order to often predict into the future. So advanced analytics would use regression techniques to look at what the next 3 periods of profit for your company might look like, or use outlier analytics to look at particular transactions that might be fraudulent because they are on the outside of what your norms are in terms of parameters for a transaction. And more we see analytics and BI tools doing some of that advanced analytics as well. A cluster analysis, regression analysis, best fit line analysis that makes it much easier for the average user to do a future projection or to see what the outliers in their data are without having a degree in statistics or mathematics. So that's basically the difference. Data analytics is more dimensional. Advanced analytics is more statistical and future looking.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Davis. I think it was an amazing session. I thank you to all the attendees. I would request all the attendees to please move on to the next session. On the right-hand side of the screen, you'll have a session tab. To attend the next session, you're requesting all of you all to please click a join session, and you will be moved into the next session. So thank you so much, Mr. Davis. It was amazing to have you on board. Thank you to all the attendees. Take care. Bye-bye.